I'm at the part of the process now where I begin second guessing what I'm doing. Obviously, I think for most writers, I think this happens all the time throughout the entire process. There's always that self doubt, always that that worry and all that. That what you're doing is not working, that you're not a real writer, etc. Those feelings are very, very universal. I tend to find, but now it's becoming very, very real in a sense. These worries are becoming much more realistic for me. I'm beginning to question now if what I'm doing is correct, if I should be doing this, if this section that I'm writing has actually improved anything at all, or if it has, if I have made things actually worse. Because this new section I'm working on, it's definitely an overhaul. Like there's not a whole lot that I've kept from the original. And really what it is with the overhaul, I've mentioned before, it's an expansion. I've turned probably what at this point now I've pretty much taken what maybe like the first like 5 pages and maybe jumped it to 10 now. I've probably I've easily doubled the word count and everything, and I've made these things much more elaborate scenes. And I'm obviously the very good thing that the thing that I like about it is the fact that they're very evocative. These are very evocative sort of scenes. There's a lot more sensory. You're much more pulled into the world. There's much more of a scene, which is great. I think it pulls people in, but there's a lot packed in there too. Like I'm looking at it right now. Like there's a lot of the same stuff being thrown at people very early on. On the I guess the good side of it, by the end of page 10, you will know pretty much the entire main character, their goals and their motivations. So that's the one good thing, right? Is that in 10 pages you'll pretty much know the character in that sense. But I'm wondering if I'm throwing so much at people very early on that maybe they don't find that interesting. If maybe they don't find that as engaging to get thrown everything right away. And it's just something I got to play around with. It's an idea I've just kind of got to sort of kind of mess around in a sense. I'm hoping it works. I'm hoping obviously that this is it, but there's definitely that self doubt that's coming in right now. And I think that this is where I think for most writers there needs to be an element of detachment on your projects. You need to detach. You need to sort of just go with the idea. If it produces something that you're liking, like this section right here, I'm getting more information across. There are parts that are good. I'm getting these scenes that are much more vibrant. If there are, if you rewrite something, you're getting those sections some things that you're starting to enjoy. I would say it's probably best to keep going then. Just go with it, because the one or two things that you might like about it could potentially be the things that you need to change. And if it's not, well, yeah, I mean, you have to start over. There's that definitely the element of needing to go back and redo it. It's not, it's awful to think that. I've been working on this for at least a week now, I think. And the idea of needing to go back and redo all this over again, that'd be tough. That would be a little bit tough to have to rewrite this again. But hopefully I won't have to. Or at least not have to, do a complete overhaul like last time. So I'm just gonna keep plugging away though. I should be done with actually I've written this first chapter probably the next day or two. And at that point, that's about half of half the first 3 chapters that are done. I did about half of the second chapter already, and now I'm doing this will be basically the entire first chapter rewritten soon enough. Hopefully we'll be close. Hopefully I'll be kind of closer by maybe the end of this week. I think a good sort of goal for myself is perhaps by like July 4th, maybe, to have both chapters rewritten. But honestly, I mean, looking at this now, my original goal was it's funny. My original goal was to have just rewritten about 10 pages a day. And at this point, it's like because this is so much of an overhaul, because of what I've unearthed, it requires so much to redo and just restructure. It's like this might take me till the middle of July, just these 3 chapters, and I'll be fine with that. To be honest, I will be completely fine if it takes that long, just to get these first three chapters, to get these things working correctly, to have these things going in a good direction, just because of how critical they are. I've mentioned before that for me, that this battle, this war, basically, to get the story done, that falls along these lines of getting these first three chapters. Like, so much hinges on getting these ones right, that if I was to play it easy, if I was to go very lightly to the page, and not take these chapters as seriously as I am, like, that's a good chance the story may not be seeing may not be seeing any kind of publication at all, and that's the worst feeling. That's, I've put in, it's been probably at least over a year that I started working on this. At this point, probably last summer I started with my first initial ideas of it. So to work something for over a year and just completely have not gain anything from it, that would be very, very difficult. So back to it tomorrow. It's going to be, today was not a 3 a.m. day. I just ended up sleeping in today. So, but tomorrow I'm probably back to the 3 a.m. again, and just going to probably try to keep pretty consistently getting up that early, just because I've gotten a little bit of inspiration from it. But more importantly, it's going to become a lifestyle thing where it's going to fit my working lifestyle a bit easier now, if I do it that way. So back to it tomorrow, and then hopefully I will have the first part of this chapter rewritten maybe by the end of tomorrow, maybe. So fingers crossed.